Hey guys, what is going on? In this video, we're talking about how you make an awesome intro to your YouTube videos. So this goes beyond just YouTube videos in general. This is how to create an introduction to your videos. For YouTube specifically, this is a topic that I wanted to cover because as soon as I started putting these kind of introductions on my videos, my subscriber count started going up and also my audience retention. Because you're putting this introduction on the front end of your video, it makes it look more professional and people are more engaged and want to continue watching. So the basic idea is that you have a hook. At the beginning of your video, you'll have something that draws your audience in for the first 5 to maybe 20 seconds at the most, and then you have this introduction. And what this introduction does is it gives your audience a view into who you are and what this video is going to be about. So you make your introduction very targeted to your style, your brand, and then people get a sense of who you are and they'll want to continue watching or they'll click off. But you'll get a higher audience retention because people have a very clear idea of who you are. So for my introduction, I wanted to show travel, I wanted to show adventure, and I wanted to show filmmaking. So I found different shots that basically encompass that, and I put those together with some effects to basically build my intro. So the elements that go into making an intro, and I'm gonna go step by step, we're gonna go through a screen record where I build this intro from scratch. But basically the elements that you have is first your music, second your footage, third some visual effects that go on top of the footage, and then some way to display your title. And the way that I create all these effects on top is through two things. One is lens flares, and I'll get into that. I'll show you what a lens flare is, or bokeh. It's something that you lay over your footage. And then the second is motion graphics. And all of these are pre-built from Motion VFX. It's an awesome company that basically pre-builds motion graphics for Final Cut. And you just drag and drop and do some setting changes, and then the graphics are automatically moving and you don't have to do a ton of work. And for music, I get all my music from artlist.io. It's an amazing music service that basically gives you the ability to use the entire library for any of your videos, either on YouTube, Instagram, Facebook, or for any of your professional clients. And basically what you're getting is an entire music library that you can use for everything. I really like using their services because I never have issues with rights. And that's a big thing when it comes to YouTube and a huge thing when it's coming to my clients. Before I started using Artlist, I was paying upwards of $50 to $100 per track. Now I just have an entire library at my disposal. All right guys, so we're gonna get into a screen record and let's build this from scratch. But if you're interested in any of the tools that I'm using to build this introduction, go down into the description. I'll put links to everything that I use to get this going. All right, so this is how you build an introduction. So now we're in Final Cut. And the first thing that I'm gonna do is figure out what music I'm gonna use. And that's because I always cut to music. And it's kind of my driving force when it comes to creating anything that has lots of action, lots of movement. I like to drive my editing from the music. My intro is 10 seconds. So what I wanna do is basically use potentially an 8 count to have underneath my intro. So you wanna have basically a phrase of music, and you want something that kind of wraps up and goes into your introduction. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So that's an 8 count. And an 8 count is roughly 8 seconds. So that's gonna work great for a 10-second intro. The issue is at the end of this 8 count, it just keeps going into the rest of the song. So you need to find a wrap up that's gonna go into the rest of your video. The best way to do this is look at the end of the song and listen to the last beat that hits. Boom, and it's a trail off. So find that last beat on your 8 count, and what we're gonna do is replace that last beat with the final beat of the song. What I did is I dropped part of the song underneath on the bottom layer, and I've blended it slightly just using your fade in and out from each side. Quick way to just blend some music. Also, one thing to look at in music is look how hot it is. So if you go on to, you see how it's hitting at 0. Well, if your vocals on your video are hitting between -12 and -6, your music is gonna blast. So you wanna bring your music down so it's hitting between -6 and -12. I like to have mine around -12. So you're not killing someone's ears right as it goes into the intro. And that's kind of a big thing that makes you stand out, is making sure your audio is mixed properly. So for mine, I used the same 8 count phrase, but I blended it around the 6th count, and I brought in a few beats from the end, so you kind of have that natural progression to the last beat and it fades out. 10 seconds, boom, I just pulled a section of the song using an 8 count. The next step is use some footage, and that's the most important part. If you're doing 10 seconds, find 10 shots, because you want it to be pretty rapid fire. You want things to move in an intro. So here's the 10 shots I've used. I pulled a second from each of parts that I thought were good moments to use. I chose a shot where I'm falling into the water, and then when my first beat hits, it goes right into the rest of the footage. Boom. So basically I'm cutting to the beat. It's every beat I'm cutting. Boom, 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 boom. So, and then I let the last 2 shots trail off a little bit longer. And on that last beat, something's gonna happen, but we're not there yet. Okay, so I've got my basic intro cut, but you want more than that. You want that pizzazz, you want that excitement. And so what I like to use is lens flares. And if you guys don't know what lens flares are, they are basically effects that you can drop on top of your footage. So you can see it's just a flare and it's over black. And these are pre-made. I'll put a link in the description to a series of these lens flares that I really like using. All of them are a little bit different, and they have, different colors, different effects. And when you drop them on your footage, you basically have it over black. You're gonna use your blend mode up here, and you're gonna do a color dodge, and that's basically gonna pull out the black, and now you have just the blue over top. When I put it over the footage, it starts having a flare effect. I grabbed 2 different flares here. I grabbed the teal one, and I grabbed this one called Natural Light, which does a big flash. So the reason for this is on my intro, when I have that first beat, I want it to be exciting and boom. So I'm gonna have that flash hit right on the first beat, fade into it, boom, right into the second shot. It feels more dramatic when you have some sort of light effect flash over while beats are hitting. And if we turn on the music, you can hear it. It makes that first beat really hit. When it comes to just adding some more flare over, I added just this flare, gives it a little bit more of a dynamic feel. And then at the end, I'm gonna use another one of these flashes to flash into the footage of me, or whatever it is that I'm shooting at the time. So that's a great transition. Basically, using flashes is a great transition to get in and out of different sequences. Okay, so we've got light effects, we've got footage, we've got music, but there's lots of motion graphics going on the top. We're gonna pull up a set of effects called M-Pointer from Motion VFX, and these are really cool. And I'll just play them for you so you can see what it is. It basically just pops up on the screen and it has some sort of effect. So you got like crosshairs, you got pointers, and it doesn't seem like anything that exciting when you just put this on, because that's gonna look really boring just over the footage, a weird little pointer. The beauty of these effects is that they already have the movement and they're ready to go. So what I do is I grab one of these crosshairs, I'm gonna pull out the text, I just want the visual of the crosshair, and I might bump up the line width a little bit, cross width. You can see how easy it is to just adjust using settings that Motion VFX has provided for you. Now, this is effect right in the middle, that's cool, but that's not what we're going for. We want something that's kind of overlaid, that just gives you the feeling of adventure and gives you the feeling of like maybe a map or something. So I'm gonna make this huge, and I'm gonna put it somewhere like in the corner, and then on top of it, I wanna speed this up. Let's have this start right when we see the second bit of footage. Boom. It's a little bit too white, so I'm gonna bring down the opacity so it's overlaid. So now we have one effect on. Well, we're gonna do this again. So let's grab another crosshair, and then you're just gonna keep building on this more and more. So here is my finished introduction. I have 1, 2, 3, 4 crosshairs, and then I have 3 light effects. I have the music, and I have my footage. So let's play this back real quick without the title yet. That's the basic introduction, and the last bit of the puzzle is adding on your title. I'm gonna use another preset pack from Motion VFX called Titles. I'm gonna pick this title because I like it. And so I have my title in there. It's a pre-built effect. I did a little tweaks to the actual visuals of it, but as I overlay this on top of everything, It just ties in the entire introduction and gives you the title of what it is that you're watching, but also underneath it, you have that visual effects and you have everything that signifies who's making this video and what type of video they're gonna be making. And that's the complete breakdown of my introduction. It's actually way easier to put one of these introductions together than you think. And what's cool about it is that it just looks so professional and it just gives your videos a polished look. Guys, if you use my techniques and my methods to build an introduction, I would love to see what you guys come up with. So please shoot me a link, put it in the comments below. Give me some feedback on your thoughts on how I created my introduction and some things that maybe you might do differently to make your introduction unique. One other thing is that I don't use the same introduction for every video. So this one's a standard that I built just for general photography video introduction. But when I'm doing something specific and I want to title it out, sometimes I'll switch out the footage or the graphics, play around with it a little bit, and then add a different intro on the end of it. Now I keep my music and I keep some of the style the same so that it feels like the rest of my videos. And that's a key. You want to make sure that you have a consistent style across all your videos so that if someone's consistently watching your videos and watching everything, they just feel like they're in your world. So you basically create your look, your idea, your main introduction, and then from there, when you build other introductions, you basically use that as a template and then repurpose some of it, change some of it out, give it a little unique flair. That's how you get people to get excited about a video and keep that audience retention up. All right, guys, that is it. If you like this video, make sure you hit that subscribe button. And guys, make sure you turn on those notifications because you're not gonna see all my videos if your notifications aren't turned on. Also, come find me on Instagram, Twitter, Facebook. I'm on all the social networks. I'd love to hear some feedback from you, and I'm happy to help you out with any of your filmmaking questions, or just if you just wanna chat and have a conversation. All right, guys, I will see you on the next one.